Well, hello, traders and investors. I'm L.A. Little, and this is your daily NeoTA wrap. We take a look at these markets, and we're doing it from a neoclassical perspective. That means we're looking at supply and demand on the charts, and we're using that to make wise decisions about where to put our money. We also use that to realize when we do and don't want to put money in the market. Now, for the last couple of months, we haven't done a lot in terms of loading up. We've been waiting on signals. You're getting those signals now, and I told you that last night. You got the follow through the day. Let's look at the numbers. All right, IndX up almost 1%. S&P just behind. Russell percent as well. NASDAQ percent. Matter of fact, just go across the board. Everything up across the board. Breakouts there, breakdowns here. Kind of what you would expect, right? Bond sell-off, gold, silver, so forth. Mirror image, folks. That's the way it's working right now. It's probably going to stay that way for a while. And if you don't believe it, just take a look at the charts, right? Because the charts are going to tell you what's happening. You know, trading is simple, but it's not easy. It's simple in the sense that anytime you have a chart and you're looking at a chart, all you got to do is figure out what's important. And there needs to be some methodology to where what you look at is important, and it's important today and it's important tomorrow, if it's the same scenario, right? And I've been telling you things that are important. If, for example, I told you this swing point low, the retest regenerate off of it was important. What happened? Last night gets over it. What do we get today? We get the extension. That's exactly what you want. That tells you, in fact, it wasn't a fluke. Something's really happening. Now you got the second bearish breakdown. What happens here? You're over it. You're doing the same thing, folks. You just got over a swing point high. You got another one there. You got another one over here. You got another one over there. You break all these babies. Can you imagine what it's going to do? Well, I think you probably know as well as I do. It's going to push up, right? You got a swing point high up here too. That's on a weekly. That means you'd break multiple swing points, multiple time frames. In neoclassical theory, that is important. I hope you're listening. Theory, model. A model I built 10 years ago, a model that continues to work, a model that has been proven through a test of time. Not only did it work in the past, it works in the future, and it works in all markets, whether they're up or whether they're down. Hopefully, you're hearing me. Let's look at the rest of them here. Let's go to the S&P. Okay, so the Russell's the only one that hasn't completely broke out. You got the S&P breakout today. You got volume expansion. And, what can I say? It's exactly what you need, exactly what you got. You can't gripe about that. If you go to the NASDAQ, now the Index, the NASDAQ's been the one who's dragging everything else up. You can see that, if you look at the others and you look at this one, what you see here is this has been grinding higher, right? Kind of a range, but really, the range was back down here, and it's kind of been out of that for a while. This is the one that's been pumping us up. And it's still pumping us up. And the NDX is the other one, right? Big cap technology, not biotech, but the various big caps like Apple, Google, Microsoft, Facebook, Netflix, all of those guys. And then here on the NDX, you got the same thing happening on it. So, I can't see anything wrong with what I'm seeing, whether I'm looking at the indexes themselves or I'm looking at the ETFs that represent those indexes. They're all doing the same thing. They're all breaking out. They're all stretching higher. I told you last night you need to be long. Hopefully you listened, and hopefully you already had that plan together. You had a range. You break over the range. You get the extension, and that is what you're getting. Let's look elsewhere, see what else is happening. Let's go overseas. Haven't looked there in a while. Let's see what those guys look like. So I do know that there was a big day up in Europe, so let's take a look at Europe to start with, see what, well, actually, before we go there, let's go to the BRIC stocks, because remember, I think 2 or 3 sessions ago I talked about these, and I said, you know what, if everything's so bad, right, because we hear, you always get the negative press. Folks, I've written these articles for... oh my goodness, how long? Maybe that's one of the problems with my writing is I'm not negative enough, right? Everybody wants to be negative. Everybody wants to fear something, right? It's not about fear. It's about reading what the charts are telling you. And when people are telling you that things are bad and you know what's happening is going to be horrible, just look at the chart. Is the chart telling you that? I don't care what other people are telling you. What is the chart telling you? You know, I see nothing but up here. How can things be bad when it's nothing but up? Right? Go to the weekly. What are you doing? You're getting ready to break out. Multiple swing point time frames, right? One there, one over here. This is not by coincidence. This is a move around the world, rightly or wrongly. I don't really care which one it is. What I care is what it does. What it's doing is it's breaking out. That's there. If we look at almost any measure, for example, here I am on an equal weighted S&P. It's a breakout, right? If I look at high beta S&P, what is it doing? It's almost breaking out. I mean, let's do another one. Let's go to the total stock market around the world. I haven't looked at this in a long time. Let's see what this one looks like. Ah, surprise, breakout. Okay, let's pop over to Europe. France, let's see what they're doing. Pushing back up, going back up after the highs. Let's see. Let's go to the DAX. And same thing. DAX is over the highs, so DAX gets the big breakout today. I think Switzerland's already blew past its gap. Yeah, and it did. It's up in there. Got a nice big day up today. And so, around the world, you're seeing the same sort of thing. I haven't looked at China in a long time. Let's see what it looks like. And China's still wallowing down here after the big breakdown. Remember, China made a nice big move up. Let's pull over the chart on the weekly so you can see it. China had made that nice big move up. And then, all the Trump stuff started here in November. And shortly after Trump did his thing, these guys started to sell off. Now, I don't know that they're going to stay down, right, because the trend's still up. And if I look at this neoclassically, actually this doesn't look bad, right? You come back in, you do a bullish, retest, regenerate, does a full one, right? Tries it there, tries it again. And what's it doing now? Trying to regenerate. If it gets another bar up here, maybe this is on a weekly, so if it closes up here this week, stays up there next week, what's it going to do? It's going to go after the highs. So, I don't think this one looks bad. This might not be a bad trade. You just got to let it develop, see if it wants to do what I just suggested, and then we'll see how to play it. Let's see here. I'll take a quick look at earnings. Earnings are coming out. Let's take a quick look at some earnings stocks. So I have a list of those babies. Let's see what they look like. We had some out this morning. We'll just pick on some that let's pick on some that are about to report. I noticed like Starbucks was after the bell today. I didn't even see where it traded after the bell, so I'll do this blind and we'll see what I think, and we'll see what it really did come tomorrow. This is set up to attack the highs. I wouldn't be surprised if Starbucks pops up tomorrow. If you look at it on the weekly, yeah, I mean it's nothing spectacular, but it looks like it's going to attack that swing point high. And if it gets over it tomorrow, then it can go up here and get after these guys. The big bars are over here around 62. But that's Starbucks. Starbucks looks okay. Let's see what else we got out here. I know, where's a good one? Oh, here's a good one, Lam Research. Now, Lam Research has been on fire. This is one of the chip stocks. This one actually got a nice big move, and this one also it's supposed to report after the bell today. Now, this one's already had the run in front of earnings. I mean, if you look at it there, if you look at it on the weekly, if you look at it on the monthly, it doesn't matter where you look, right? So it's already in a stretch mode. So usually when you see that, right, when you run up into earnings, unless they report something spectacular, they're probably going to sell the news. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that one try to come in a little bit. As I look at the rest of these, oh, it looks like I miscalled Starbucks. Looks like that's tomorrow, not tonight. So I guess I couldn't have looked even if it had reported. I'm just glancing at the rest of them here. JetBlue, airlines. I always have a tough time with airlines. Let's see what that one looks like. So let's grab that chart. And these guys actually reported in the morning, so we'll see what they did today. Yeah, dark candles. I don't like dark candles. This is a failure. So I mean, you know, the charts talk to you, folks. You can see the test. Where's your test? You got a high volume bar at the top, right? And now you're coming into the bottom of that swing point high. And when you come into it, you don't have as much volume on earnings, and you get a black candle, a dark candle. What's it going to do? It's going to come back. It's going to come back the other way. You know, the odds favor this thing to fall back, not to go higher. So, you know, I so many times, you know, you can look at these charts. I was mentoring, and this gentleman probably watches these videos, so he'll know I'm talking about him. But I was mentoring a gentleman in Europe, and I was you know, doing charts just like this. We were going through things, and he says, you know, how can you read those things so fast? And I said, well, you know, you get used to it. I mean, you know what you're looking for. I mean, we're you know, when we're looking for something, we're looking for something of significance. There's only three things. You know, in this model, there's three things you look for. It's not that complicated. As soon as you just scan this, you can pick them up. You can pick them up real fast. I told him I can do it. I can analyze any chart you want in probably 30 seconds or less. So he gave me one, and of course I analyzed it and told him what I thought, and it was funny. He timed me. I did it in 29, and then sure enough, it did pretty much what I said it would do over the next week or two, which is, you know, we were doing a short-term analysis on it. So, you know, you don't get them all right, but with the neoclassical model, folks, you really do get most of them right, and more importantly, you have the probabilities in your favor. So anyway, I started trading a long time ago, and when I did, I was fascinated with trading. I mean, this is back in the late 80s to tell you how old I am at this point. And, you know, I was fascinated by it because I wanted my money to work for me. I didn't want to work for my money anymore, right? And even though I continued to work for my money, I had my money work for me and put me in a position to where I was financially independent. And, you know, if you're going to work for money and you're going to toil and make your money, A, you want to make sure you keep it, but B, you want it to work for you. You want it to grow, right? That's where the money really makes sense, right? Because, I mean, you've all seen the curves, you know, where you start with this amount of money and you know, it's a slow build, and then all of a sudden it goes logarithmic, right? And that's because of compounding, right? So you make money, you don't give it back, and pretty soon you get more and more and more, and it starts making a lot of money. And, you know, I'm out there on that curve somewhere where it's starting to make a lot of money. And it takes time. But if you really want your money to work for you, you got to have confidence in your trading. The only way you can do that is learn, is teach, right? Is to figure out how this really works. And I've mentioned it before. I'll mention it again because I have to continue to mention this. We have a community. We want you to be part of a community. There's a referrals that you can do, you know, where you can bring somebody on with you, and you know. But what we're trying to do is say, hey, because when you come on and you join this site, we're going to spend time with you right up front. In fact, personally, I'm going to spend time with you. You're going to get me. And so if you want to take advantage of that, if you want to be part of that, you know, I'm still taking, I've got about 3 more slots. If you want to be part of that, you know, I keep saying bring a friend. If you want to bring a friend with you, we'll do a 2-for-1 special. And I'll give you that clip here, let you see what I'm talking about, and then I'll be right back. So if you want to get in line for the 2-for-1 deal, you know, now's the time. I'm opening it up tonight, first come, first serve. Once we review the applications that come in, pick the first 5 slots, then we'll close it again until we have more time available to actually teach. Don't want to bring too many on. We want to do this right. And so if you're really interested, come check us out and see what you think. And you really do want to take advantage of this before it closes up. I'm not sure how long it'll be before I open it back up again. You know, my time is limited, and I can only do so much. And, you know, I'm really focused on teaching you how to trade these markets. I've traded them for 30 years, folks. I've been very successful at what I do. I trade money for other people. I trade, I have businesses in Europe. I have them here. I'm a very busy person, but my heart has always been, my first book was Trade Like the Little Guy. I wanted to help the little guy. I'm not one of those New York shysters or what everybody thinks of as a New York shyster. I'm just a guy that came out of the backwoods, Texas, learned how to trade, and am interested in teaching other people to do what I had to learn myself. Fortunately, I was an engineer. I could build tools. I could actually model. That's what I did in my engineering life. I model a lot of things. And so I set up a model. The model works pretty good. You really should check it out. So I would encourage you to send me an email. Come over here. Click on. Actually, you want to come to the Join the Community is the place. Just come in here and then ready to apply. Just put this out. Fill out the little application, and just in the little thing that you're going to fill out, just tell me who you and your friend is, and I'll get back with both of you, and we will figure out a way to get you involved if in fact there's a decent match. And I really want it to be a match that's going to pay off for you as well as me. So I want to build a community. I want a bunch of people out there that know how to trade and that help me trade. I actually had a mentor today in my mentoring meeting give me a trade, right, that I had overlooked. And I believe it's going to be a really good trade. And we're making that as we build the portfolio back up today. We went back to mostly invested again. We've been invested for the most part, but we were biding our time, waiting on the charts to tell us when it was time to put the last bit of the money back in. That's what we did today. And actually, I wasn't the one that found the trade. That's why I want the community, right? It helps us all. We all get better. We all see things more clear, and we get ideas from others who are looking at the market from a very professional standpoint. That's TA Today, folks. Have a great one. I'll see you next time. Good night.